Leah's dubbed today Mending Monday. Didn't you, Leah?
I did.
Why, Leah?
Mending Monday.
Somebody asked.
Because somebody asked, and then I like to kill my jeans.
Yeah, girls with thighs, we have a problem. Our jeans are always splitting. And Leah and I have a hard time finding jeans that we even like that will fit.
Yeah.
So we're going to talk about mending, how to make these things last just a little longer today. So there you go. Leah brought in 2 pairs of jeans, so we'll play around with mending those. But Dawn put out some beautiful denim chambrays and things for us today. And we brought out some interesting books. So this one's got some interesting little things, but in that, like this little bird would make a great patch. Somewhere on the front, on the knee, on the leg. You know, interesting little things, ideas. You take it. I'll look down at the patches. So these have been around forever. These are the leather with the pre-punched holes, so you could hand stitch them into a jacket or other ones. But they still have those leather pouches. And then drill. So drill is a weave. It's a type of cotton, a lot like denim. Don't know if you can catch the ribs. But pretty tough stuff. And then
hubby's coveralls.
Yeah. Then nylon. So these are very soft, very supple for those lightweight outerwear things you might get snagged on something and tear. And then the suede patches. The first pair was smooth leather. Got them in suede too. That's more casual. And then if you're not sure or you want to play around, like it's way cuter. Look, if you're going to patch something and you can't hide it, embellish it.
Just own it.
Yeah. Make it a feature. So like little kids don't care if their patches match, and they probably appreciate fun colors, and you can even cut them a bit into shape. And then these are, this first set was iron-on patches, mending nylon, and this one is pressure sensitive. So you're gonna squish it in place. But it's a color assortment in there.
That would fix the hole in my backpack.
Right? And then there's the Own It patch. Pink camo, come on you guys. So cool. But they're not expensive. This pair is only $1.89. Then here's like for the more pastel person in pale pink and yellow and lime green and lavender. And then there's denim patches. This is a darker denim. This is a 2-piece with a lighter and a darker one included. If it's teeny holes, here's a whole assortment of teeny tiny denim in medium and light blue. And then it's 10 more mini iron-on and a few navy, black, white, and the 2 shades of denim. Then just good old khaki or blue camo. There's usually a pair. Then this one, if you just want to have emergency bits on hand, there's denim and black and navy, white, cream, little ones. So you can use these in lots of places. And you can cut them down if you need to. You could even shape them if you had to.
This is a good question. Any suggestions for when the iron-on patches don't stay on and trying to sew them for reinforcement ends up gumming the needle?
The glue is probably a lower melt. It's just going to gum up the needle. You can try putting some sewer's aid right on the needle, or the new chrome needles that are designed to get through sticky stuff. The chrome is supposed to help repel the glues. So you could try the new chrome needles. But if they don't stay down, and they after some washings and wearings, they tend to curl. And that's one of the reasons that all the edges are rounded off and they're not pointy, is because the curve tends to adhere better than the point. So if you're going to trim them to a shape, try not to trim them to a point unless you're going to stitch them down. They're kind of marketed to people who don't really sew, and then they assume you have an iron, and a lot of people these days don't actually own an iron. However,
or don't know how to follow directions on fusing.
Yeah, well, the other thing is you can absolutely go old school and heat up a frying pan and iron those down.
So these need to be ironed a long time, 30 seconds.
Yeah, and you got to follow directions, but you can stitch them down. And in lots of cases, they would last a lot longer if they were stitched down in some fashion. And even if it's just a straight stitch, an 1/8 of an inch in from the edge, that foot that I showed everyone the other day,
53.
Though it had that single little toe, lovely to measure with. And you just stitch stuff on about an 1/8 of an inch from the edge, and it'll hold forever. The leather ones are in about a good 1/4 inch, though the holes are pierced in. Not sure if they're easy to see, but they're pierced in at a 1/4 of an inch. A short 1/4, but about a 1/4. And then you want to back stitch those on. All right, how do you want to patch your jeans, Leah?
Normally I patch with extra bits of old jeans, which I didn't bring with me, so
I gave her new denim.
So I have some new denim.
If they're old jeans and you're patching them anyway, you could try to color match. Sometimes at home, I used to buy all the same jeans from all the same place. And then so I'd have jeans that were beyond repair, so I would start cutting them up for this sort of thing. So we have to so what do you think? 4 inches or so that way. So we could possibly, there could be enough patch there. Yeah. And then you have to make a decision, inside or outside.
I like patching from the inside.
Me too.
Because then you don't see the patch that's a wildly different color.
So that patch is probably big enough if you want to use those.
Yeah, I think that's what we'll do.
Okay. So if you have denim like this, I sometimes will cut or tear something from an old pair of jeans, or this happened to be a new piece of denim that I had at home. Not too heavy. Most denim is not that heavy these days. But if it was similar color, and then typically I will serge around the edge. Those one of those few times that I use my serger every year that I'm so grateful I have a serger.
So I'm going to flip my jeans inside out and iron my patch on from the inside. That's purely personal preference. I have patched from the outside on other stuff, but I like the way it looks better when I do it from the inside. This is where the hole actually is. And I can tell that it's worn right through here as well. And sometimes when I wear my jeans out, they wear on the other side of the seam, but this pair it looks like they're just wearing on the back side of the seam. Each brand seems to be a little bit different jeans-wise. So, directions on this. Patch may be trimmed to desired size. Place coated side down on garment. Press cloth over patch and press firmly for 30 seconds. So again, pressing is pressing, not ironing back and forth. 29, 30. I'm going to let that cool before I do anything else. Look at that. It's patched. It's still hot. We're going to leave it till it's cool. So preemptive patching is where you patch before you actually need to, which I know that the other side of this pair of pants needs to be dealt with as well before it goes kaput too. Look.
I made Leah 2 patches.
Ooh, those are pretty. Nicely done.
So, we've got some blue ones. Not iron on.
This pair was going to need it right away. The other side.
Whee! Got them in there good, Leah?
I think so.
Leah and I are the same. We go pick, 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 see if the edges all got done. Now what you going to do with them?
I'm going to stitch them.
Leah's all really boring too, so she's doing black jeans with a black patch with black thread.
So exciting.
I don't know what you'll be able to see, if anything, but we'll try.
So it's gone all the way around. Hasn't really dealt with my lifties there.
Yeah, so might want to do a longer, heavier iron to make those stick.
Yeah.
And then if you look, if we hold it just right, you can see that Leah's got a little straight stitch around here. Because blacks are never the same. Sometimes you have to come in and if you really want it to be invisible, you have to buy an entirely different color thread than you think you need. Because although these were black jeans at once, now they're like multi-tone black.
Yeah.
And so what do you normally do here, Leah?
I normally do some like darning over that. Yeah, I know.
Which one do you use? Just a straight?
Just a straight. And then on the Berninas, this is permanent reverse, so then you don't have to hold the button to go backwards.
Right. I like the multi-step zigzag to catch the fur sometimes.
Oh, yeah, okay.
So this, around the hole here, we've got furry bits, right?
Maybe I'll do that first.
And so the multi-step zigzag has nicer tension without much fuss. No, well, that one's a bit curvy, but I think 16 is the one that I tend to use. So it's, see that 1, 2, 3 stitch before it does the zig? And then it goes 1, 2, 3, zag, 1, 2, 3, zig. So that one kind of locks stuff down a little easier. And a regular zigzag, the threads are too long. They get caught. They get caught on, you know, rings and jewelry and each other, and they'll tear. So when Leah uses that reverse back, it just sews backwards without her having to hold the reverse back.
So lots of the other machine, like some of the brothers will have a stitch that you can run directly backwards if you have the multi-directional sewing.
Yeah, so the free motion foot that most of us use for embroidery these days was originally just called the darning foot. And then you could free motion this and you could go into all sorts of interesting angles.
I'm pretty happy.
So, we'll...
Let me get that off of there.
It's okay. The light may or may not help, but we'll see. Yeah, so you can kind of see Leah did a up and down. And see now all the furry bits, they're trapped quite nicely. And unless you had your nose where it didn't belong, you would never know that Leah's patched those jeans up. But it's essentially you have to replace, there's no thread there anymore. They're kind of gone, right? And do you ever do anything with this, Leah? Because lots of times I'll go through and put more thread in these holes. Sometimes,
like if I've blown them out on both sides of the seam, I will.
Where did you stop the patch?
It's
just on the other side of the seam.
Yeah.
Yeah, so if you put something under there, you can do this. But see, you can get several more weeks wear, months wear out of this. And you won't have to deal with a breeze when you're not expecting a breeze. But that's pretty good.
Yeah.
So I made you 2 blue patches. Shall we talk about where we would put them?
Yep.
If you want to use them, you don't have to use them if you want to use something else. But these jeans wore differently than the other pair, and it just depends on what this pair to me feels like it has more lycra in it than the other pair, and a lot of denim, especially for women. So this one, it's kind of got a long skinny hole here. And then
It's right at the seam.
this one. So, and it's where the seams sit on your leg. And so what happens, I think, is like this seam is rubbing on this seam, but also may have been rubbing on your leg here. And then even riding your bike, if you wore in your jeans, would wear in a different place. But you can kind of see it's an interesting little wobbly line right here. That's where the lycra has broken out. Because I bet you everything that's left here is cotton, no lycra. I noticed when I was making, when I was checking out your jeans, one was a lot longer than the other.
Okay.
So I even made a long and a short one. Because I was thinking this one here, and that would take care of all of that.
Yeah.
There in case it blows, because it's just like when you have a really old machine and you bring it in for repair and we fix it and send it home and then something else breaks. It's like dominoes. It's just going to keep going. And then that little shorter one, I think will fit there. And then with the rounder edges, it hides a little better than straight pointy seams. Yeah, and then sometimes you don't get the points. So if I made it square, sometimes those little points, if you don't get them sewn in, they tickle. And then, so this I would put with this behind the hole facing out because the color's pretty good. And then when I was sewing by this little tail, it would tickle, so I would tuck it in so that it's between the jeans, not my leg. Yeah.
So you'd go around the same way. How would you hold that in place to get it in there?
I would 505 it. What would you do?
505 sounds great.
So this is the side we want to stick to the jeans. So we're just going to do a little quick spray. 505, which is also an OTIF product. If you've never used it, it's a lifesaver. So not for all eternity. It's not spray paint. Lay the jeans out flat. And then we can stick the patch in place.
You're going to see how many thumbs I have when I take this over to the machine.
But rather than turning this leg, Leah can just free motion the patch in. But see, Leah can keep that pant leg on the tube here and not have to turn the jeans. And she can work much nicer in that tight little hole. Because see, now we're sewing sideways up the tube on the free arm. Much nicer. And I serged those patches off because then they won't fray inside your legs. But if you don't, you can also run a zigzag around the edge. Use the multi-step zigzag if you have it. It's a lot friendlier on the edges of fabric.
I think I'd rather do the other part from the other side of the pant.
Oh yeah, flip it over and see where you need to be.
I have a boundary. I know where the patch is.
Yeah. Well, and now you can use multi-step zigzag in free motion. It just won't be very nice.
Not this foot.
And that foot's, yeah, that it would only give you a wee one. So, and if any of you had like the Brother PQ 1500, it doesn't have any zigzag. So Leah can sort of now tell from the stitching line where that patch is, so she won't be just stitching in the air.
And you know the patch is in the right place and it's not going to move on you.
Yeah, we've got it glued in place. Now we've got it stitched in place. And the 505 will wash out. Air dissipates, but because it's trapped there, it would take longer.
That side's good for another few weeks.
Oh, she got all artsy fartsy. Could have written message.
Going back and forth.
could have wrote messages in there. Yeah. So see, all the fuzzies are tacked down. Now there's another layer of denim in there. Oh yeah, can kind of see. She just went berserk. Anyway, we should probably log out for today. Be safe, be kind, be calm. Bye.
Bye.